Katie, what the hell is going on with your team? Why is this team like, I'm not even asking this as a haha, I'm an Ultra fan, you suck. I'm not. I promise you I'm not. I really want to know what is happening here. Why is the best COD player of all time retiring mid-season? Why is one of the best players on the team not getting a starting position and getting subbed out after 1 or 2 maps? Like, what is happening here?
Poor Katie.
You know I love you, but I have to ask.
Of course. I mean, well, I'm right there with you because when you look at this, right, I think obviously this wasn't a team that necessarily was meant to be together in the first place. You can reference Karma's tweet from a little while back where he says it feels like we were all just like thrown together, like none of us were meant to be with each other. On top of that, I think there are very clearly some upper management issues going on. And there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I can't really speak to, unfortunately, but I can say that like it's kind of a trifecta of bullshit that this team is going through right now. And of course, you also have the players themselves, and you have, I mean, how they've handled everything with Enable has been very poor, in my opinion. You had Octane, who admitted that how they handled his initial benching wasn't great, but he owned up to that and they moved on, and the entire team seemed to be fine. But then he also said after Enable's second benching that he had been the only one who had wanted to play with him. And so then there's all these other issues there. And I mean, it seems like a team that on like the cellular, molecular level of this team has just fallen apart. Like every foundation, every pillar has crumbled. And I'm just waiting to see like, how do you rebuild this? Because clearly for whatever reason, you're not making trades. You're not trying to work with other teams to bring in different folks or perhaps swap people out. That's a question in and of itself. Like, why haven't you been doing that? So it seems like there's very profound issues going on. And it just makes me very sad. I mean, they're my team, right? They're my team, and I love them. I love Seattle Surge. I love all of those guys. I want nothing but the best for them. But, I mean, they need to step their up realistically, and you know, you need to fix your shit in a very non-dainty way of saying it.
It seems like, I'm just going to piggyback on what I saw from this management group in Overwatch League, because I actually think it's relevant. They picked up, so it's the same kind of management connection to the Vancouver Titans, and they picked up the roster of Runaway, which is already a team that got along really well together. They played together for a while. They had a very set like chemistry, and from what it seemed like, they just kind of like, you know, like let them do whatever, right? So it's like, we have this team, they're good, go forth and win. And like they did, because they already had that built-in team chemistry. They're already used to playing with each other. They came in during a meta where the players that they had, the team was going to be really good. It seems like to me, and again, this is like just based on what I saw from their season 1, like their first season Overwatch League team. It seems to me that they kind of just gathered all of these players and expected that to magically happen because they're accomplished in their own
because they're all winners.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So like, but like that doesn't work always. And like, unlike a lot of other rosters where people considered like, oh, this duo wants to play together, or these players really want to play together, they're like, they'll only be signed to a team if, you know, as a package deal, because they already have chemistry and they want to look at who else is going to end up on this team. Like talking to a lot of teams that were building their rosters for their first CDL season, like in this weird, we had a really weird off season this past off season, right? Because we were jumping from teams, like just loose teams, to franchising. And it really seems like they just gathered all these players and were like, you're all good. You've all won stuff. Go and win. And like that doesn't work. If you don't take the time to consider like, how are these people going to get along? Have they teamed together? Have they played together ever? What's their actual, like, look at what their actual play style has been through multiple iterations of COD, because it's not like these players are unknowns, right? Like that's the whole point of picking them up. So I do see a similar trend where it's like a very hands-off style and they expect the players to kind of just go forward and win. And when they didn't, and when the players were kind of left to their own devices as to figure out what's wrong with the team, why aren't we performing well, why aren't we communicating well, what's going on, like it really seems like everyone was on different pages. And it's unfortunate. Like, it sucks. I'm not blaming anyone. It just, the whole situation sucks.
And why do teams not want to scrim Seattle? I saw Nubsy tweet death, taxes, and scrimming LAG, right? But, like, in all seriousness, is it because, like, I know that every year there's this, like, so I've been talking with players and they've been telling me that there's this stigma that they don't want to scrim the bottom tier teams because they're not as good and whatever. But there's got to be more to that than this. I mean, like, I've heard of, like, you know, them missing times and things like that and whatever there may be. But, like, there's got to be more to the story than this. The fact that they're, like, basically blacklisted from scrims.
Hi, bye.
Or something. That's why I've heard that from multiple people.
Arna, so you're correct. You're correct. So essentially, there's more to the issue going on than just the fact that they are a bottom team. Because that is valid because you're not going to learn anything new necessarily against a bottom tier team. You can experiment and try and play your worst maps and expand your map pool against some of the worst teams. But it's more than that, right? There were issues with folks being late consistently to scrims, which other teams do not enjoy. And there were also issues with the team leaving scrims however many maps in because they were just getting smoked and they raged and they quit. And so why, if you are another team in this league, why would you waste your time when you're not going to learn anything new? They're probably going to be late and they might just dip out mid scrim. So now you're just wasting your time. So there's been a few issues that have been going on.
Fair enough. Some of that if you're late for things consistently, people are just going to lose faith in you. That's a human thing. So that I can understand. If you're consistently late, and listen, some people might be like, well, that's an esports thing. Everyone's late. Yeah, fine. It's a gamer thing. I get it. But still, it's a pro league. How much do these franchises cost? Like, maybe being on time might be one thing we can shore up. Anyway.